My guest today is Alison. She's a mum of two and someone who's passionate about water sports. She has her own, I say business, but a set of activities where she's built the freedom that she's looking for through paddleboarding, corporate team building exercises, working in partnership with others. And I'm interested to explore today the journey that she's been on to get to that point, and whether it's time or location freedom that's the most important to her. Before we started recording this, we had a quick conversation about some of the trips that she'd had during the summer and the ability to go to Brazil, the Maldives, and Sri Lanka, which is amazing. So for me, one of my key questions is, how do you get to that point? How do you have that freedom to be able to travel? Alison, thank you for joining me today. I've given a quick introduction there. Is there anything that you want to add to that, or would you just want to dive straight in and answer that first question of how have you built that life that you've got so far, and having that freedom, and actually what does freedom mean to you?
All right. Hi, Phil. Wow, I think you did a great job. Thank you so much. How have I got there? So I can't say it's been easy, and I also can't say that it's not what it sounds, but what it is for me fits me, and I'm super happy with it. So when you say, oh, she's been to Brazil and Maldives and Sri Lanka, I'm like, yeah, I did all that. And I love the fact it's not for me. It's for me, my happiness and my joy is, it's not a resort on the Maldives and hotels and tours in Sri Lanka. It's something that I travel with my kids and with my partner, and we do it on I like to say a budget, but it's actually, if I had $1 million in the bank, would I do it any different? Probably not. We fly. We're very lucky with being in Dubai. We were able to travel, to have a really good discounted tickets occasionally, and do really love to travel. So one of my keys about how did I get here? 6 years ago, I separated from my partner, the kid's father, and on the day I found out what was about to erupt in my world, I, with very shaky hands, took a book and wrote some notes. And I wrote on there that I will do everything with love. And what I wanted going forward, I would do everything with love. And whatever happened, I would be able to travel. It was like, whatever happened, I'd be able to travel. And when COVID hits as well, I was like, oh my God, are we going to have to leave Dubai? What would we do? Where would we go? And I was totally up for traveling the world, homeschooling my kids. And people would say to me, well, how would you do it? I don't know. Like, I'm going to just contact Netflix, and I'm going to, like, how many single moms have you got traveling around the world, homeschooling their kids? And I go, how are you going to make money? I was going, Netflix is going to follow me, and I'm going to pick up shells on the beach and make like jewelry and amazing things from different places in the world. And my children are going to learn from school of the world. And it was a plan. Travel's always just been really something I absolutely love doing, and I hope I can instill in my kids to travel and to just to see the world and to see other cultures and other countries, and just open their eyes up, because we do live in a bubble in Dubai, and it's a bubble I love. We've been here for 10 years. But I love my children to see the outside world, see the real, well, not the real world. We are living a real world, right? This is our real world, but that there is other things around the world. There are other cultures. I love the fact that in Dubai, they get to go to school with so many different cultures and languages and religions, and they're so diverse, and to go to countries and see how other people live as well, and to experience that. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to get out of life and out of a job. Again, 6 years ago, I had to start working again, and I thought, great, what skills have I got? And I'm not academically, I don't have a degree. I'm South African, and I was brought up to my, this is quite bad to say online, but I would be married and be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, and some man would take care of me. That's the way I was brought up. I had no problem with it because it's what you know. It's anyway, so I had to start working, but I was fortunate enough to take my skills and say, right, what do I want to do? And again, I made a list of what are the things, and I wanted to be happy in my job, because if I'm not happy with what I'm doing, I'm going to come home and I'm grumpy and I'm tired, and you're at work most of the time, so why not enjoy it? So one of my beliefs all along is do something you enjoy, and the minute you don't enjoy it, stop and do something else. And I've been very fortunate to do those things, to do the things I've enjoyed doing. So the water sports was a passion. I was a swimming instructor. I left South Africa in 97 with the South African ladies water polo team. That's how I got out the country. And my eyes were open to travel in Holland. We went to Holland, and then I worked as a nanny so that I could try and stay in Holland and train with the Dutch team, which are amazing sportswomen. And it only took me about 2 months to realize that my dream was not going to happen. But I was okay with that, because my eyes had opened to a different world that I preferred to do. So I stopped playing water polo and traveled the world with the family that I worked for, who opened my eyes to the world. And then it just kind of travel started there. And in every job I've ever done, I've just got it, and I've just done it because I've enjoyed it. I was actually booking a ticket. It's funny how this is all turning to travel, but I was booking a ticket to go to Thailand years ago, and I loved the people in the office. It was a flight center in South Africa, because I'd gone for my brother's wedding, and I just loved the way they were in the office. Everybody seemed happy, and everybody seemed like they were having a really good time. So I went to Thailand for 2 months, and when I landed back in London, I didn't have a job, I didn't have any money, and I had to work. I went straight to flight center, literally off the plane with my suitcase to the head office, and said, oh, I booked a ticket 2 months ago and really liked the vibe in the office, and I'd like a job. And they interviewed me, and the next day I was working. I had a job at Flight Center, and I worked there for 3 years, and I managed, and I opened a shop off at the Flight Center in Fenchurch Street. I opened that, and I left that so that I could go traveling around the world. So yeah, as every job I've ever had, I've done it because I've loved it, because I've wanted to be there, and it's the skills that I've had picked up along the way. So I suppose, and one thing's led to the next, to be where I am today, and I can still say, doing really what I have weekly pinch me moments when I'm on the water and I'm got 5 or 6 ladies on the water. I'm like, oh my God, look where I am, look what I'm doing. I'm so happy. I'm so lucky. So yeah, that I suppose is my freedom.
Amazing. Yeah, again, some of the interviews that I've done, different people, different backgrounds and experiences, and freedom means different things for them. So it's great to hear what it means for you, and actually travel is a big part of that, being out on the water as well, and saying, you know what, I can look around and I'm not stuck in an office. I have the ability to get out, meet people, be on the water, experience all of those things. Also interesting to hear you talk about, doing a couple of different roles, being a nanny, traveling with them after doing the water polo, getting those new experiences, and I guess that new view of the world. I recorded a short video recently talking about exactly that. It's like, we have a lens that we look through. Obviously, it's based on people we interact with, places we go, the things that we do, but we can change all of that. And sometimes, yeah, it is about changing our situation. Sometimes that's where we are in the world. And actually that then is like, suddenly I now see things completely differently. So yeah, interesting to hear your story and the things that you've been through to get to the points that you're at now. I want to touch on water sports. That's how we met. You know, I joined your stand-up paddleboarding club. How do you support beginners? You know, one of the chains that I talk about is fear. Another one is about perception. When you start anything, you're obviously starting from zero. You're building up. You sometimes have to gain the confidence. You have to gain the skills and the knowledge and that understanding. What's the sort of process that you take people through when they're starting? Yeah, again, whether it's paddleboarding or whether it's, you know, learning to swim or gaining water confidence or doing the corporate team building. Is there a process that you take people through?
Definitely. It's nothing that I've ever put down on paper, but I'm a firm believer in, I'm the teacher and it is my job that you understand. It's not you. So if you're not understanding the first time, then I need to change the way I'm explaining things. Also, in everything in life is scary or hard when we don't know how to do it. So I have the gift of patience with other than my own children, actually. I'm very, very patient, and also realize that people are coming at from a different angle. So I do always, I mostly ask people why they're doing what they're doing. And most of the time it's a new experience or they've seen it, they want to try it. And I try and put people at ease. I don't just say everything's going to be fine. If there is, so I teach kite surfing as well. And when I teach kite surfing, I do actually mention the fact that it's an incredibly dangerous sport and that you do need to take it slow. And I go over the safety procedure like 5 times before they say, I've got it. And I go, okay, let's just do it one more time. I know you've got it, but let's just do it. On the paddle boards, I hope you felt at ease. I just tell everybody, like, take it in your own time. And you did take it in your own time.
Well, you told me that I was the worst person that you'd ever seen when I first started.
I don't think I said you were the worst.
You took the video and you showed it to me and you were like, I've never seen anybody like that.
But it's very true. I still stand by saying it wasn't the worst. So this is your perspective of how you saw it. But it certainly wasn't the worst person I've ever seen. But I have still to this day never seen anybody's legs shake the way yours were shaking. They were on the board like a power plate. So, but you faced that, like, you didn't give up. You were like, I've got this. It's okay. I'll get up when I get up. And you brought your volleyball knee pads, which I thought was amazing, because you're like, I've got this and I'll do it in my time, which for me is really important to also notice that in people and say, okay, you're on the water. And I also tell people a lot in my beginner classes, it's okay to be on your knees. The process, the way you use the paddle, the way you paddle, all the small techniques is exactly the same. Of course, it's stand-up paddleboarding. So the aim is to stand up, but you're also there for your wellness. So you're there being on the water almost is like, it's like a magnet to healing, to people. Just somehow the ocean takes away stress and just calms people. So the fact that you're there on a board with the paddle in your hand, I'm super happy, and I'm just going to go from there. And so I really give people that space to develop in their own time. And it's not a competition and it's not pressure. I will still have to, I've got other people in the group, I will still have to kind of get them to go faster or give them an experience that they're coming for, but always try and make sure that everybody feels comfortable. And I might say to you, like, you know what, we're going to go ahead, and when you see us turn in that buoy, you turn as well, because we're going to catch up with you. And how many times I've come back late to the group because I might be at the back towing somebody, which I kind of see as well. When I'm sat there chatting to this person, I'm doing extra exercise and I'm on the water. So it's I just take everything in somebody's everybody's time and realize that everybody's different in their approach on how to learn.
And I think that's actually an amazing point, because we can look at that as a message about life. You know, everybody, yes, they're on a journey. We may have different views of what freedom means to us. There will be a process that we go through. There will be a different timeline for us to work through. So yes, me having the world's worst shaking knees when I first started and wearing
just
scuba
the world's
shoes.
Shakiest, not the worst.
Yes, okay. And yeah, wearing my scuba shoes and my knee supports and, you know, everything else just to be able to make me feel more comfortable when I first started. And over time, you know, I've got rid of those and I've felt a lot more comfortable on the board, but that's a process that I had to go through. But yeah, that's, I guess, like anything, we can have that vision of where we want to get to for our lives, but maybe it doesn't happen tomorrow or the next day. There are a couple of things that we have to go through. There's some steps we have to take. So it's great to hear you actually say that, because yeah, I think there's an underlying message there about everything else in life as well. Next question that I sort of wants to touch on or dive into is, from where you are currently in your ability to travel, you know, the work that you are doing, family that you've got, do you see that changing over the past couple of years because of what's happened with COVID and everything else? Have you, you know, reassessed? Have you got a different vision for the next 3 to 5 years? Or are you just taking the moment and saying, you know what, where I am right now, I love this. I love the day to day. I'm interested because obviously the journey that you've been on, the different jobs that you've had, the places that you've been, things in the past have changed. So I'm just interested to explore and say, okay, are you just taking every day as is because you currently feel like you've got freedom, or has your vision for the future changed?
It's an interesting question because it kind of changes all the time, and I will be in, because I'm the kind of person that just do what I really do everything I love, and I try and love everything I do as well. It's difficult. I'm never standing here going, oh, I want out. I can't wait until I can get out. There are things that I'm working very hard towards and very focused and working on a journey to get to. Dubai is one of those places that when we first arrived, you always knew that you were going to leave. So you've always got that in the back of your head, like when we leave Dubai, when is that Dubai? When are you going to leave? And you must hear it all the time. People come for 2 years, and you did yourself, didn't you? You came for a holiday, and then you're here for, I just do 2 years, I just do 3 years, I just do. So we've been here for 10 years now, and my son's just started GCSEs. So he can't move. It's not, of course we can do anything, right? We can, if we have to move, we have to move. But so the plan, you still have in the back of our heads that we will move away from Dubai, but the more Dubai grows, the more you realize that actually we could be here forever. And I'm now going to the stage where I love traveling so much, and the word retirement scares me, not for any other reason that I'm like, why would you ever want to do that? For me, it's why, like, I think retirement is when I feel retirement is when you stop living. I'm doing all the things I love doing. So why would I stop that because I'm 65 years old or 70? What I would like to do is have multiple places around the world where I could kind of go to as we feel, as I feel is the best time of the year to go. But as my kids grow older, my aim, I feel like it's almost too premature to be talking or planning or thinking about it. But I think about how many years my kids have got left and they go to university, and what do I want when I'm older? And I know exactly, I have a vision in my head what I want when I'm older. And I want to be somewhere where my children want to come to with their children. I want to be somewhere where I'm totally going to be the 70-year-old running down with a board, telling all my clients, to come on, hurry up, we're going to be late. The sun's coming up, we've got to get on the water. And I just hope that our life will develop into where I have people around, where our lifestyle's bringing in the money that we need. I'm pretty low maintenance. So I have a good theory that I think you'd quite enjoy, is if we all knew what our happiness was, we'd all be like, the world would be such a better place, because our happiness is different. And my happiness is just going to be living on some beautiful little house near the beach, where I can do things that keep me healthy, and I can empower people around me, and like take people out on the water, and that we can be close to the beach, and bring our joy to other people, and be healthy, and have our wealth, and our wealth, and just have our happy. So going around, like, yeah, I love Dubai. I still have something in Dubai. I hope that some sisters and some kids are still running with the teenagers that I'm coaching to be coaches now, and I can pop in and see how the business is running here, and go for a paddle store with some sisters, and then go over to Brazil and do it there, and Zanzibar. I love Zanzibar. So yes, there's lots of plans for the future.
No, that's good, because a number of the people that I talk to, you ask that question, like, well, actually, I have no idea what I want, what I'm working towards. In fact, I'm not working towards anything. And that's part of the challenge for them, is to try and identify what it is that they want, because it's only then that you can say, right, well, okay, now we can start to think about the path to get there, because you've got that vision. For those who don't have it, again, it's the hamster wheel, maybe the 9 to 5, it's like, I feel stuck because I have no idea what I'm working towards. Yeah. So to hear that you've got that vision, and how you see the world, and what you'd like to achieve, is fantastic. An interesting point that you touched on there as well, happiness and joy, and having a lifestyle that enables you to do that. So I guess the way that I position things, I call them freedom activities. What are the things that make you feel good, that you may have other responsibilities, but you can try and sprinkle in, if you can get to a point where actually your whole day is joyful and it's full of those activities, fantastic. For where you are at the minute, would you say that all of your time is sort of freedom activities and things that bring you joy? Is it, 80%? And I ask that question just because, so everybody is on their own unique journey, and some people are at that starting point saying, I'm stuck, I have a vision, I know I need to make some changes, I know it's going to take a little bit of time, there's going to be a journey there. Others are halfway through that journey, it's like, I've been able to make some changes. And I guess I'm asking it to say, you are already traveling, you're doing some of the work that you love. Obviously, we all have other things in our life, maybe responsibilities, different priorities, things like that. So just to get a sense from you of, for the life that you have currently, would you say it's all your joyful and freedom activities, or there are a couple of things that it's like, what, I have to do these things, there are responsibilities there, that's just part of the way that I live currently. In the future, that may change, but yes, there are certain things that I still have to manage on an ongoing basis.
Totally. I have to remind myself, I think sometimes, which could be a bad thing, my vision for the future is such a dreamy place, that I have to remind myself to stop and live the now. And I'm here now. So what is it that I need to do now? And I have to drive my business. So with all these things, and thank goodness that I am low maintenance, it's the one thing I do have to think regularly is, right, I still need to make money. So the things that bring me joy and the passion doesn't necessarily make me money. So I have to stop myself and I'm in the process and the journey, and open to learning all the time on how I can do things better. But I have that core value for myself and for everybody around me, that so if I need to make more money, what can I do? And then I'll brainstorm loads of things that I can do. And a lot of the stuff takes maybe upskilling, which is like, I think, okay, so where am I at and what do I need to do? But my core value of loving the things I do, I could never bring myself to doing a job that would just drain my soul, because the company, whoever I'm working for or whatever I'm doing, is getting half of me, if that. My family then gets half of me, if that. And just there's no happy ending in any of it. So luckily, the things I do find joy in. Recently, my business doesn't bring in a huge amount of money, and I had to increase my income. So it's pretty similar to the flight center story, walking into the story. I had a corporate gig with a client a couple of years back, and I was talking to them on the board, and I thought, oh, I really like that. Like it was training. And one of the jobs I did before I left for London was an IT trainer, which is bizarre because I'm pretty IT challenged. But it was training credit systems. So we learned the credit system, and then we went out traveling around South Africa to train it. So I was like, hey, I can be a trainer. And I called up this client and said, do you remember me? We did a paddleboarding, we did your corporate team building on the beach. And he's like, yeah, I remember you. He's like, so one of your staff, he came from being a real estate agent and he's working for you. Do you have a job for me? And he was like, we're like got professors and stuff working for us, unless you want admin. And then he gave me leads and he said, I think you do really well at team building. And he gave me leads to a team building company that I work for. And I phoned them up. And again, the next day they said, come in for a coffee, and I had a job. So I really do believe in that kind of the universe will give me what I need. And I just need to believe and ask for it. I ask those things. If I need to make more money, hope that more work will come through. But at the core of it, I can't do things that I don't enjoy. So I'm not sure if that answered your question.
No, it does. And it's really useful because it's, again, for people listening, if they're in situations where they currently feel stuck, they're feeling like, okay, I'm doing this because I have to, not necessarily because I want to. And getting to that point of saying, okay, time to make some changes. What are those changes?
Yeah.
Having belief in yourself that you can set other things up on the side, that you can make those changes and say, there are opportunities out there. Things will happen if I'm willing to take that leap of faith and put time and energy and focus into things so that I can again, it may be a 3 month, maybe a 6 month, maybe a year. I can change that situation and move into something that I'm more passionate about, that I want to spend my time on. And that's why it's interesting to hear, again, your view and the journey that you've been on, because there may be people in exactly that situation.
Yeah, I have to say a big thing for me along the whole journey is I'm blessed with friends around me that I brainstorm. Sometimes I just say to myself, like, do you really need to ask everyone's opinion? And I have a real core of friends that I swing everything by them. And I'll get different opinions, but then I go with my soul. So I don't just sort of plod on. I'm so lucky to have friends around me, which you've met a lot of them, that will give me their honest opinion and will just say, you so don't need to do that. And how about this? And why don't you do this? And sometimes a lot of friends say to me, oh, you should just do that. That word, you should just, is like, it feels like a world on my shoulders when somebody says, you should just do a website. Like, I can't switch a computer on, just do a website. So, but having people around me that I can trust, and that at least I can trust that I know I can offload and have ideas out on has been really key for me, and I've been really lucky to have that.
Nice. Yeah, useful to be able to bounce ideas, get different opinions, whether we listen to them or not. That's for us to decide as individuals. But sometimes there may be just that one comment, just like, oh, I actually hadn't looked at it in that way.
Yeah.
I had that situation recently. Somebody, gave me a comment. I was like, Actually, yeah, that's changed my whole perspective on a challenge that I was facing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need that ability to bounce off other people, get their perspective, because again, they're seeing things through their lens based on their experiences and the life that they've had. So I can fully appreciate, having that close-knit group that you can turn to and get their thoughts and opinions. A final thing then, if you had to give 2 pieces of advice or suggested guidance to people who know that they want more, they have a vision for their life, the future, the goals and things that they want to achieve and how they want to live, based on everything that you've done and you've been through, what would you say to them?
2 pieces of advice for somebody wanting to change. I would say that they should really ask themselves what makes them happy. What would make you happy? And write it down, draw it, whatever. What makes you happy? And go from there. Because I think to know yourself is a really key point of where to start doing anything. So knowing what makes you happy, I think, is as well as knowing yourself. So ask yourself what would make you happy. And I think even down that line, would that really, like having $1 million in your bank, or $1 million dirham, or actually we'd rather have $1 million in dirhams. But,
yes.
But really, like, would that make you happy? Why? Ask the questions, why do you want? So really, for someone, what would make you happy, and really go down the reasons why you want to do that thing, or why. And then I want to say, just do it. But there's a saying, and I don't know who says it, but it's like fall down 7 times, get up 8. Or I'm not sure if you've ever heard that. I think if you're following your heart and you're following things that make you happy, when they don't work because they make you happy, they're not as bad. If that makes any sense. And I would definitely say, if you're looking for a change, find out what will make you happy, because it's the rest of your life that you want to spend doing it.
Fantastic. Yeah. A great piece of advice and guidance there. I think it all stems from knowing ourselves to be able to say, this is what works for me. I can build everything else from this starting point. Thank you very much for joining me today, Alison. I really appreciate your time there, your thoughts and your insights, and obviously sharing the journey that you've been on and how you found freedom in your own life.
Thank you, Phil. And so thank you for your podcast and your teachings. I'm really enjoying listening to it, and I really do enjoy it. So thank you.